It's visible. So what we are discussing in the last class?
In
In
that,
that,
we
we
started
started
learning
learning
about
about
OOLV,
OOLV
and then
and then
how
how
to
to
display
display
that
that
ALV
ALV
report. We
report. We
saw
saw
that
that
we
we
have
have
some
some
steps.
steps.
So,
So,
creating
creating
normal
normal
screen,
screen,
then
then
dragging
dragging
and
and
dropping
dropping
of
of
custom
custom
controller,
controller,
then
then
converting
converting
that
that
custom
custom
controller to
controller to
container.
container.
Um,
Um,
not open the document. Then
then
pass
pass
the
the
grid
grid
and
and
then
then
pass
pass
the
the
data.
data.
Correct?
Correct.
So
So
these
these
are
are
the
the
steps
steps
we
we
followed
followed
for
for
displaying
displaying
the
the
OOAV
OOAV
report,
report.
that is
That is
class 12.
classical.
But
But
in
in
the
the
normal
normal
ALV,
ALV,
we
we
saw
saw
that
that
in the
in the
top
top
part,
part,
we
we
have
have
like
like
logo,
logo,
headings,
headings,
and
and
all
all
we
we
just
just
pass.
pass.
How we
How
are
we are
going to
going to
design
design
that?
that?
There
There
in the
in the
normal
normal
ALV,
ALV,
we
we
used
used
top
top
of
of
page
page
event
event
to
to
display
display
that.
that.
Correct?
Correct? Yeah.
So
So
here,
here,
what we
what
are
we are
going to
going to
use.
use.
So
So
here,
here,
no
no
need of
need of
any
any
event
event
actually.
actually.
We are
We are
going to
going to
use the
use the
splitter
splitter
container.
container.
Means
Means
we are
we are
just
just
going to
going to
create
create
our
our
own
own
screen,
screen.
then
Then
drag
drag
and
and
dropping
dropping
of
of
custom
custom
controller
controller
means
means
reserving the
reserving the
space.
space.
Once I
Once I
reserve the
reserve the
space,
space,
then
then
I'm
I'm
just
just
going to
going to
convert
convert
that
that
as a
as a
custom
custom
controller
controller
means
means
container
container
by
by
using
using
custom
custom
controller
controller
class.
class.
Once I
Once I
made it
made
as
it
a
as a
container,
container,
then
then
I'm
I'm
going to
going to
split
split
that
that
container
container
into
into
two
two
halves.
halves.
So
So
once I
once I
splitted the
splitted the
container,
container,
so the
so the
broken
broken
container
container
can't
can't
hold
hold
anything.
anything.
So we
So
are
we are
going to
going to
place the
place the
physical
physical
containers.
containers.
Once we
Once we
pass the
pass the
physical
physical
containers,
containers,
for the
for the
second
second
half it
half
will
it
be
will
the
be the
same,
same,
passing the
passing the
grid
grid
and
and
passing the
passing the
data.
data.
For the
For the
first
first
half,
half,
what we
what we
need to
need to
do?
do,
We
we
need to
need to
pass
pass
the
the
text
text
and the
and the
logo.
logo.
For
For
that, we
that,
are
we are
going to
going to
learn
learn
new
new
class.
class.
So
So
first
first
normal
normal
creation,
creation,
dragging and
dragging and
dropping
dropping
custom
custom
controller,
controller,
converting as
converting
a
as a
container.
container.
These
These
steps
steps
we
we
know
know
already.
already.
And
And
passing the
passing the
grid
grid
and
and
data we
data we
know
know
already.
already.
Here we
Here
are
we are
newly
newly
learning
learning
about
about
the
the
how to
how to
use the
use the
splitter
splitter
container
container
class
class
and
and
pass the
pass the
physical
physical
containers,
containers,
then
then
pass
pass
the
the
logo
logo
and the
and the
data.
data.
So
So
this is
this
the
is the
new
new
part
parts
what we
what
are
we are
going to
going to
learn
learn
now.
now.
Okay.
Okay.
So we
So
are
we are
going to
going to
see
see
that
that
example
example
now
now
practically
practically
so
so
that you
that you
can
can
understood
understood
better.
better.
So
So
what
what
only
really
I'm
I'm
going to
going to
take
take
one
one
table
table
all the
all the
fields
fields
so
so
that I
that I
can
can
use the
use the
structured
structured
name
name
and
and
show.
show.
Okay.
Okay.
Select
Select
option
options
s
S
underscore
underscore
yarnum
yarnum
for
for
VB
VB
underscore
underscore
yarnum.
yarnum.
And
And
then
then
what is
what
the
is the
event
event
mandatory
mandatory
startup
startup
selection?
selection?
So
So
one
what
table
really
I'm
I'm
taking
taking
all the
all the
fields
fields
of
of
one
one
table
table
where
where they are
yarnum
num
in
in
s
S
underscore
underscore
yarnum
yarnum.
and
And
if
if
sy
SY
sub
sub
RC
RC
equal
equal
to
to
0
0
and
and
then
then
declare the
declare the
declarations.
declarations.
Data
Data
VP
VP
VBA
VBA
type
type
standard
standard
table
table
of
of
VBA
VBA
and
and
ZB
GB
yarnum
yarnum
type
type
VBAK hyphen num. Then what we need to do? We need to create the screen called screen number. What is that? Previously what I used the screen number 9002. So I'll use now 9003. So creating that screen, top to bottom approach I'm using, saving the program. For demo, just go to the layout and drag and drop the custom controller. This is the custom controller. You have to drag and drop from starting to ending. I just drag and drop few. Flow entry is the container name I'm just taken. Activate it. And then come back. So go to the flow logic. When we want to display the data, whenever screen is coming, along with that I want the data. So that's the reason I'm writing under PBO module. Double click on the module. Is to create. Same. In program. Save the screen. Now we are going to convert that custom controller to container. How? By using the class. Go to SC24. CL underscore UI underscore custom underscore container. So custom container. This is the class which is going to convert that custom controller to container. So what are the steps? First we need to refer the class, then create the object, and then if you want all the methods. So GO underscore CONT, the object reference, type ref to the class name, and then so we're just going to click on pattern button, Ababp object patterns, and create object, give the class 0 underscore CONT is the container name. Pass the custom controller name to this. CONT is the custom controller name. And come in the exceptions. Then what we need to do? So up to here it will be the same. I just created a screen after that, drag and drop after that, convert as a container. Any questions up to here? Okay, fine. Then now next what we need to do, we need to split this container as two halves. How to split the container? For that we have a class. CL underscore GUI underscore splitter underscore container. So this is the class which is going to split the container. So I'm just going to first refer the object. For 0 split. Type ref to the class name. So once refer is done, then we are going to create the object after container inside the module and module. Pattern button, Ababp object patterns, create object. Forward 0 split. And this is the splitter container. Now, what you need to do, you need to split, which is the container. CONT is your container. So how to split? So if you see here, parent, rows and columns. Parent means which one you want to split. CO underscore CONT is my container which I want to split. What is this rows and columns? If you observe here, how you want 1, 2 rows and only 1 column. So how many rows you want? 2 rows and 1 column. So like this we are just going to split this container. Done. Just activating, splitting is done. But now, once it is splitted, you can't place anything in the splitted container, right? Means which is broken container, you can't place anything. For that, what I need to do? I need to place some physical container. What is that? CL underscore geo underscore container is the class. Okay, this is the physical container. Custom controller to convert the custom controller to container, but this is physical container. I'm just referring this. Lego underscore cont 1 type ref to the class name. I want two containers. In first place I want to place one, another place I want to place one more container. So container 2 type ref to this container. Okay, fine, we have the physical containers, but where I need to place? I need to place in the splitted area. How to use that? In the splitter container, we have a method called getContainer. So by using this method, we can place that physical container in the first row, first column, second row, first column, like that. So for that, already for the splitter container, I already referred that class and created object. Yes, created object and we splitted that also. Then now what we need to do? Call the method. Pattern button, Ababp object patterns, call the method. Which method? GetContainer. Where it is available? In the splitter container. And then what is the instance? Zero split. Now you can see first row, first column. Row 1 and column is 1. What I need to pass? So 0, CONT1, which is physical container I used. You can see here I have 2. So first row, first column I am placing container 1. Second row, first column I am placing container 2. So I need to call this method one more time to place the one more container. Pattern, Ababp object patterns, call the method, same method. Yes, we are calling. Now, so what is that? Row 2, second row, and the column is same one. And what is the container? 0, CONT2. So this is how you are going to pass the containers. Now physical containers are ready. For the second one, we know that in the second half, we need to pass the grid and data. So I'm just finishing out that code. Then I'll go for the above. Okay, second half in container 2, I'm going to pass the grid and data. So for that, what we need to do? First, I need to refer the class 0 grid type ref to CL underscore GUI underscore ALB underscore grid. Okay. Once we referred, then what we need to do? Create the object. Pattern button, Ababp object patterns, create object. 0 grid CL underscore GUI underscore ALB underscore grid. So this is how we are going to call. In which container we are going to pass the grid? In the container 2, I am going to second half. CONT2, I am going to pass the grid. Once I pass the grid, what I need to do? I need to pass the data. How to pass the data? We have a method called setTable for first display. Let's call that pattern, Ababp object patterns, call the method, Evo grid, CL underscore, GUI underscore, ALB underscore grid, and set table for first display. This is the method. You just call it and you can pass DBA as the internal table. Voluntarily I am taken all the fields so that I can pass the structure name. Otherwise you can use field catalog. DBA is the table name which I am passing as a structure name. And then uncomment the exceptions. So then the second half is done. But in the first half what I want, so here I pass the grid and data. Here I need to pass the text, logo, all those things. How to pass the text, logo and all? For that, what is the class we have? We have one more class called CL underscore DD document. CL underscore DD document is the class where you can see add text, add text table, add text, add table, add pictures, add icons, like that, whatever you want you can add it. Okay, you want gap between two things, you can add gap. We have add new line, like that we have. Yeah, you have new line, so that if you call the method it will take you to the next line. So like this we have all the methods we can use. But in this class, how we are going to call? Again the same. First, refer the class, then create the object, then call the methods. Whatever methods you want, you can call it. But in this class, there is a method which is mandatory method. What is that? Display document. This is the mandatory method you have to call. Why this is mandatory? Because when you create the object, you are not saying where you are displaying. When you are calling another method, you are not specifying that where you are displaying. So this is the method which is going to specify that you are going to display these details and all in this container. That's the reason in the DD document, which is the mandatory method, display document is the mandatory method. So I'm just going to start. For that, what we need to do first, we need to refer the class. This is DODD tag ref to the class name CL underscore DD document. Save it and come back. So then what to do? Referring is done. Then create the object. Pattern. Ababp object patterns. Create object. 0 underscore DD. The class name. So here, if you want to pass any background colors or background styles or something, you can just use that. Okay. But here you are not passing any container name but to display at all. After that. Then I want to call the method. How to call the method? So first creating object is done. Then we are going to call the methods. Call the method. What is that? DD is a reference. CL underscore DD underscore document is the class. Inside that method. What is that? Add text. To go for the, I want to add the text. So add text is the method. Where you can add the text, you can add the text table like the fixed lines, so you can add the colorings, all these things you can do it here. I'm just going to add simple text here. Object oriented ALE. That's it. And then, so we are just going to add text is and add picture. I want to show the logo also. So one more method I need to call. Add picture. This is the method. All this. So we already imported the logo into SAP by using OAER transaction. We saw that in the ALE concept, correct? So now we are going to add here Z22 logo or logo. Okay, so I'm just passing that logo name. But if you observe here in the creating the object and while calling that add text or add picture, I'm not specifying where this need to be displayed. That's the reason there is a mandatory method to call under this class, that is display document. So I'm just calling this method. Yeah. So here you are going to specify where you want to display that. I'm just going to display that in the container 0, CONT1. That is a physical container. Under that I'm going to display that. Just activate it. Now we need to check whether my screen is active or not. Double click on N module, it will take you to the module. Double click on the screen, it is not active. Activate the screen and come back and activate it. Now you are going to run this with the details. You can see in the first half it is getting the text and the logo. You can see this is adjustable container, splitter container. You can adjust like this. And I want the logo first, then this. Then of course, first call this method, then call this method. Then it will be resolved. So in the ALV, it is not like that. You have use LV commentary right where you are going to display the logo always in the right side on. But I want the left side the logo. Yes, call this method first, then this text it will come. Or I want to text to be same. This should be come down. Add new line in between that method so that it will go to the next line. Or I want a gap between this. Then you have a method called add gap. Okay, you can use those methods and you are going to get the all the gaps, new lines, however you want, you can design it. And you can use the font style, font family, all those things so that you are going to get in that color and with that family and all. So this is how you're going to design this classical logo ALV. You are not using any event here. By using splitter container, you are achieving this. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions up to here?
No, ma'am.
So what we did here? So as usual, we created a normal screen. In the normal screen, we drag and drop the custom controller, converting that custom controller to container by using CL underscore G underscore custom container. Up to that, it will be the same. Next step, we did it split the container. How many you want? I want 2 rows and 1 column. I splitted the container. Once I splitted the container. How you splitted the container? By using the class called CL underscore G underscore splitter container. These classes and all you have to buy out. And then once you splitted that, you need to place the physical containers. For that, we use the class called CL underscore G underscore container. Once you place the containers, you need to place that physical containers at the splitted areas. For that, we use the get container method in the splitter container. Pass that and then pass the physical containers in the splitted areas. Then in the second half, we pass the grid and data that we know that by using CL underscore G underscore LV grid, we are passing the grid. Set table for first display, that is the method to pass the data. After that, what we want? In the first half, we want to pass the logo on the text. For that, we have the class called CL underscore DD document. In that, you can pass the logos, you can pass the text, all those things. In that, there is a mandatory method called display document. Because that document only specifies where you are going to display the data. In which container. that you are going to specify in that method only. That's the reason display document is the mandatory method to call under the DT document class. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we are just going to the next. With this, what we finished? Classical, OOLV classical report is done. So next, interactive, but I'll park that little bit later, we'll discuss. So now we are going to start the blocked ALV. What is this blocked ALV? We learn in the ELV also blocked ALV. Blockwise, I want to display the data. So that's the reason we are going to use blocked ALV. But what happened? What is the drawback at the time of ALV? We don't have the scroller for the blocks. We have the scroller for the entire screen, which is not user friendly. So that's the reason we are not going to use ALV blocked. So then what we are going to use? OOLV block. How we are going to achieve this OOLV blocked? Means the same, creating the normal screen, and we are going to drag and drop the custom controller to reserve the space. Once it is done, we are going to create that as a container. Up to that, it will be the same. Then I'm just going to split this container. Before I splitted only two. One is for logo, another one is data. But now I want the blocks. I want to show 3 blocks, so I'm going to split it into 3. If I want 4 blocks, I'm going to split it into 4. How many blocks you want to see in that screen? That many times. That many times you're going to split it. So once you split it, place the physical containers and then pass the grid and the data. So that's it. So before what we did, we split it, but first half we passed the logo and the text. But here in all the splitted areas, physical containers are placed. In the physical containers, we are going to pass the grid and data. That's it. So that is about blocked ALV, OOLV. So I'm just starting that. Any questions up to here?
No, ma'am.
I think it just got disconnected. It's 38, 22, over ALV. First we are going to write select options s underscore yarnum for cv underscore yarnum. We are going to take as per the requirement. Start of selection, same, select star from VBAK into tables VBAK where we are long s underscore yarnum if hy sub rc equal to 0. I'm just going to get the related data. Same, which example I shown in the normal ELV, the same logic I'm just writing here. from VBAP, include table Z3 VBAP for all entries in Z3 VBAK, where VBLN equal to Z3 VBAK hyphen VBLN. Then if SY sub RC equal to 0 and if so wantedly taking all the fields so that pass the structure name, normally you'll have the field here. Select star from Mara into table Z3 Mara for all entries in Z3 VBAP where MATNR equal to Z3 VBAP hyphen MATNR. If SY sub RC is equal to 0, then end it. Now you need to declare all these internal tables. Data Z3 VBAK type standard table of VBAK. The Z3 VBAP type standard table of VBAP. The Z3 Mara type standard table of Mara. The ZBERNum type VBAK hyphen ERNum. Activate it. And we're just going to call screen. Call screen number 9004 and then I'm double clicking on the screen to create, save the program. It will take you to the screen, demo, go to the layout and drag and drop the custom controller. Drag and drop the custom controller. You can drag from starting to ending. I'm just dragging for few. VONT is the container name. Just activate it and then come back. Go to the flow logic. As usual, under PTO module, I'm just going to add the code. Double click on the module. S to create. Save in the same main program. Click on continue. Save the screen. Okay. Now, what we need to do? First, we need to refer the class, then create the object for converting that custom controller to contain. For that, we have the class called CL underscore GO underscore custom container. So first refer the class. So go up and do other declarations. Zero and type ref to the class name. So once we refer the class, then what we are going to do? Create the object. Pattern button, Ababp object patterns, create object, CONT. So what is the custom controller name? CONT. I'm just taken that I'm just giving here so that my container name is CONT now. Once it is done, we are going to split this container. So what is the class used for splitting the container? We have the class CL underscore G underscore split the container. This is the class. Copy this, refer it first. Go split, type ref to the class name. Once referring is done, then create the object, pattern button, Ababp object patterns, create object, split. Split the class. What you are going to split? The container. So 0 underscore CONT is my container. How many you want? Now I want how many rows and columns. CONT is the container. How many rows I want now? 1, 2, 3 rows. Only one column. So 3 rows. Before only 2 rows. Now I want 3 rows and one column. So like this, how many rows and columns you want, you are going to specify that so that it's going to split. Once it is splitted, you need to place the physical container. How to place the physical container? 0, 0 and 1. I want 3 places to be placed, 3 containers. Type ref2 l underscore geo underscore container. This is the class. So how many containers I want like this? 3 places are there, 3 containers are required. So container 2, I'm just renaming it container 2 and container 3. Done. Physical containers are ready. Now I need to place it in the splitted areas. For that we know that there is a method called getContainer in the splitter container class. Just call the pattern button, Ababp object patterns, call the method, split is the instance name, splitter container is the class name, and getContainer is the method. Spelling getContainer method name. It is typo mistake. This is the method. Now you are going to pass which container in row 1, column 1. In row 1 and in column 1, I want to pass the container 1, CONT1, which is physical container. Then calling the same method for one more time. Ababp object patterns. So same method, but row 2, second row and first column. Pass the container 2, CONT2. Okay. Then third, pattern button, Ababp object patterns. Call the same method for row 3 and column 1. Passing that 0, CONT, container 3. All the containers are placed. Now for all the containers you need to pass the grid. How to pass the grid? We have to refer the class. 0, grid 1. I need multiple grids, so I am just taking one to like. Refer to L underscore Q underscore LE underscore grid. This is the class, but I want to grid 2, grid 3 also. So copy it and this 2 and 3. This is grid 2 and this is grid 3. So once it is done, then we are going to create the object. So just go here and pattern button, Ababp object patterns. So create the object 0, grid 1. Grid 1, CL underscore Q underscore LE grid. So grid 1. So for that, where do we need to pass the grid 1? In the container 1. CONT1. Done. Then I need to call the grid 2, which need to be passed in the container 2. So need to call one more time. Yes. Just call pattern button, Ababp object patterns, but which we are passing? Grid 2, not the grid 1. So call it grid 2 where you are going to pass in physical container 0, CONT2. So repeating the same steps again and again. That's it. And comment the exceptions. Then come here pattern button and Ababp object patterns. Now I'm going to pass grid 3. So where I need to pass the grid 3? In the container 3. CO, CONT3. The container 3 I'm going to pass the grid 3. Now grid 1, grid 2, grid 3 are ready. Then I need to pass the data to that grids. How to pass the data? We have the method. Ababp object patterns. Call the method. So CO grid 1 EL underscore U underscore LV underscore grid. So this is the class and the method is set table for first display is the method. So in this what we need to pass, and just wantonly taken all the fields so that I can pass the structure name. VBAK is the first internal table. So I pass VBAK table. VBAK is the internal table and command the exceptions. Then call the same method for next grid. Pattern, Ababp object patterns, then call the same method but in the grid 2 I'm just going to pass. So what we are going to pass in the second one, we are going to pass the VBAP table data. Basically VBAP is the internal table. VBAP. Wantonly I have taken all the fields so that I can pass structure name. Normally you are going to pass field catalog. VBAP. Then and uncomment the exceptions. This is also done. Next, we are going to call one more pattern. Ababp object patterns. Grid 3. So then, quoting structure name. What is that? So pass EP Mara. Determine the exceptions. Yeah. So this is how I pass 3 blocks in the 3 blocks grid and the data. What happened? Grid 3 is unknown. What?
Exact grid 3 1 3 are
Ah, yeah. Selected, activated. Now it is done. But we need to activate the screen. So this is not XC80 so that you can right click and activate. So you need to be careful how you need to activate. Check it and then come back, activate the main program and then run it. And use that CORR. Without that you can run the program so that you got all the 3 blocks. If you observe here, I want to see for 1013 how many items are placed. So you can see here immediately you can adjust this little bit up and I have 4 line items for 5013. You can see it is different record. So for this, what is this materials? L-60C okay, L-60Y okay, L-80C okay, L-80Y okay. So not only like this, if I want to see, for example, 5040, I want to see for 5040. You can immediately go here and see 5040. I have one item P0103. Here P is here 103. Oh, like that you can adjust. Even you have the adjustment of the, see if I have more number of entries, I can adjust like this and see the entries. So I can adjust these containers also in between so that I can see the data at a time in all the blocks. And the scroller is for blocks, not for the screen. Correct? Is it user friendly or not?
Yeah,
That's the reason we are always going to blocked LV means OLV only. The normal LV will have the scrollers for the screen, not for the blocks. That is not user friendly. So here you will have the scrollers for the blocks and you can adjust the blocks also as per the requirement means if you want to see the details more you can adjust the blocks also. So that's the reason OOALV is the best one to use for blocked ALV. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So with this I finished that blocked ALV also. Then we are going to see what kind of reports we have. Classical that we finished, block that we finished, and we have dynamic. Interactive also that, interactive little bit later I'll show you. And next one is dynamic container. If you observe here, these containers are adjustable here, correct? Yes or no? I can adjust these containers. Correct?
Yeah.
But I can't expand this one. So this is fixed size. I just drag and drop the how much size in the screen. In that size only it is displaying. But I don't want like this fixed that. This container itself I want to move. Means this entire grid screen itself I want to movable. Then we are going to use dynamic container. How to do that dynamic container? For that, we are not reserving the space physically. We are going to use the dynamic container. We have docking container class. We have one more class called docking container. By using that class, we can make the screen dynamically. Means the grid dynamically. I think that is another example. So we have the class called docking container which makes the screen itself like a dynamic. Okay. So I just parking this for today. Tomorrow we can see that a docking container which is movable container, the container itself is going to adjust. And then we have interactive OOLV. The two examples I'm going to explain in the tomorrow's class. So any questions up to here?
No.
No? So just practice and come for tomorrow class. Tomorrow class we are going to start that the docking container as well as interactive. So for that you just check that ALV interactive on top. Okay. So that what is the equipment you use, how you achieve there, and then here how you are going to achieve it will be comparison. You can do it and you can easily understand. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No questions. That's all I'm going to wind up for today. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.